Hi, Seth David here. I hope everybody's enjoying a great holiday season. I had lunch this week with my friend Andy and we had a really interesting conversation. He and I both work in the financial world. He's more in financial services, and as you probably well know, I'm in the bookkeeping, accounting, and financial management end of things. And of course, when I talk about financial management, that's what I'm talking about, the sort of higher level accounting services, doing budgets, cash flow forecasts, and really taking a look at the future for clients and determining where we want to be and how we can get there. And that's what I want to talk about for a couple of minutes right now, because he and I were talking and we agreed that based on what we've seen, there's a lot of people out there with a heap of debt on their books. And I'm not talking about businesses, I'm talking about individuals. And especially now, going into the holiday season or deep into the holiday season, I'm sure people are racking up some credit card debt buying gifts for people, which is great. That we're buying gifts for people, but the problem is, how are we going to get out of all this debt we have? And I know there's a lot of people out there with a lot of it, and there's a few things I want to mention, because he and I are actually working now on putting a plan together to basically develop a system that's going to help people get out of debt and also live debt-free. I'm not talking about getting out of debt and then using your credit cards as a tool. Debt is not a tool. Debt is it's a prison. It puts you into prison, and it gets you into that state that many people are in now, which is a state of fear. I don't know what to do. I'm too embarrassed to tell anybody that I've got this mound of debt. On the outside, my life looks great, but on the inside, it's falling apart because I can't keep up with my credit card payments, my mortgage, and all the other payments I have that I've incurred based on all the stuff I've acquired over the years. And that's what I want to talk about first. The first step in this process is frankly going to be admitting that I need help with getting out of debt. I have to recognize that there's a problem that, or for that matter, that not even that there's a problem, but that I could be living a much more comfortable life by getting myself out of debt. And I have to swallow my pride for a minute, because what happens is, even though it might be embarrassing to go to somebody and admit, hey, you know, even though I've got these nice cars and this great house, or I live in this beautiful apartment, the reality is I've incurred a lot of debt and I'm living beyond my means. It's very hard to admit that. It's humbling, it's embarrassing. But what happens is, when you come out on the other side of that, is that you become a bigger man or a bigger woman, because what you've now done is, by admitting it and swallowing a little bit of your pride, what happens now is you're able to demonstrate how to tackle a huge problem and turn it into a solution and actually come out of it way, way, way ahead. So the first step is admit that you have the problem. The second step is going to be looking for help. And that's where my friend Andy and I are going to come in. We're going to get together. I've started building a template in Excel that's going to be easy. You don't have to know Excel, how to use it. You're going to be able to get this template from us. And then what's going to happen is, you know, people use a personal trainer to get healthy at the gym, to work out. We're going to be like your personal debt trainers, or your personal net worth trainers, because what you want to do is you want to build your net worth. And what happens is, as you get your debt paid off, your net worth increases. It's a basic formula. I take my assets, I subtract my liabilities, that difference is my net worth. So I take the value of the house minus what I owe on the house, that's the net worth of my house. I take all of my assets, my home, my cars, my bank accounts, everything I own, and subtract all the monies that I owe out on my credit cards, my mortgage, and everything else, and that difference is my personal financial net worth. And by paying down the debt, you're going to increase your net worth. And then what happens is, we can help you put a plan into place that not just gets your debt paid off, but also that enables you to have the money set aside that you need to, so that you don't have to use your credit cards. Stop giving your money to the bank. The banks are crushing us now, because they're realizing that people are in way over their heads, so they're dropping your limit and they're increasing your rate, and what that does is it kills your credit score. But the reality is, the only thing you need your credit score for is to incur more debt, which is what we're trying to get you away from. Now granted, you want to have a good credit score, because eventually, if you don't have one, you want to buy a home. If you're in a position to do that, great. I'm not saying trash your credit score. I'm saying it's getting trashed for you right now if you have credit cards. Because here's an example. Let's say I have a credit card with a limit of $10,000. Let's say I've only used $5,000 of it. In the past, that's been pretty good. The banks look favorably on that, because I've only used 50% of my available credit, and I'm making my payments every month. The banks like that. What they're doing now is they're dropping your limit down. And by the way, a significant part of your credit score is based on that difference, based on how much you have available compared with how much you've actually borrowed. It's called your debt utilization. So if I've only borrowed half of my available credit, my debt utilization is 50%. And that's about as high as you ever want to get it to go. You definitely never want to get it above 75%. So on a $10,000 line, you never want to borrow more than $7,500. What the banks are doing now, though, is they're saying, okay, the country's in trouble, there's people in way over their heads in debt, and we don't want to get stuck with all this, so let's do what we can to bring in what we can and not extend any more credit. So they're taking your $10,000 limit, where you've only borrowed $5,000, and dropping your limit down to the $5,000. They're saying, okay, we're not going to put you into default, but we're going to drop your limit down, so now you can't borrow any more money. You just have to pay off what you borrowed from us, and you can use that $5,000. And when you pay down that $5,000, in some cases, they're dropping your limit even more. But here's what that does to you. When you have that $10,000 limit, you've only borrowed $5,000, your utilization is at 50%. Now the bank comes in and says, you know, we're going to drop your limit down to $5,000. Well, what happens to your utilization? It's just gone up overnight to 100%, and that drops your credit score. That kills your credit score. All of a sudden, you're going from somebody who looks like a responsible person who hasn't gotten in over their heads to somebody who's maxed out their credit card, and you didn't do anything different. The bank just decided to drop your limit without telling you, and it's in their terms. You can't do anything about it. It's in their rights to do it, but they're basically killing people's credit by dropping your limit, and now they're going to increase your rate. So if your rate was 14-15%, now it's 26-27%. It's one step shy of loan sharking, basically. It really is loan sharking what the banks are doing. And I don't know about you, but I'm kind of mad at the banks for doing this. And so my mission in life right now is to take as many people as possible, help them get out from underneath this, and never have to rely on the banks ever again. So if you're interested in finding out more about this program, email me at classes@nerdenterprises.com, and I'll be more than happy when the template's ready to share information with you and get you started on our program. Thanks for watching.